So thank you for tuning in. So I don't know if y'all can hear the music in the background, but that is the music that we have for this evening. So it's Memorial Day weekend, as I said earlier. Cheers to that. I hope everybody gets to turn up a little bit this Memorial Day weekend. So cheers. Let me take a drink to that. Okay. Again, forgot how delicious that was. I've seen a few people's thoughts on the whole Diddy situation, and people have made jokes, people have shared their upset. Thank you so much for the badge, Night Angel Exodus. I appreciate you. Such interviews with Cameron about Diddy, and hearing Jenny May talk about Cassie talking about Diddy, which her comment is funny. I think that if you look her up and what's been going on with her and her battle, her her divorce and everything like that, it's just so laughable. And so look at that. If you ever get a chance to, maybe I'll bring it up if it has to do with anything coming up. But I just find her response into the whole Diddy situation is just laughable. So, we go back so many years, and yeah, and just this says the Cameron interview was just hilarious. It was. They should have never interviewed him. They should have never interviewed him. They should interview other women and everything when it comes to the whole Diddy situation, since this obviously is happening with women, because people did speculate, you know, what's happening with Kim Porter, and, you know, Cassie shared what she was going to share, what she shared about, you know, what happened with her and Diddy. Now, what I find interesting, because if we go back so many years, it came out and Diddy told the public that he didn't know what anybody was talking about. They were lying. It's not true. And his fans, his people, his biggest supporters, you know, rallied behind him and said that's not true. You know, he doesn't do that and everything. And now we see him come out so many years later with this public apology. And it's like giving such fake sadness, because where was that? Where was that sadness? Where was that shamefulness years ago? Instead of coming out and saying, you know what, that is me. I shouldn't have been that person. I shouldn't have done that. That would have been the proper response to have when it came out that you're a physical man. It should have been me. Angel Jackson says, wait, Jenny made a comment. Yeah, she said that it speaks to other, I'm not going to quote it verbatim because I know I'm going to mess it up, but basically on the lines that it gives, Cassie gives the voice of women of like herself, gives her strength. And it's like, what are you trying to say? Are you saying that Jeezy is whooping your ass? Is that what you're trying to imply, ma'am, by making that statement? So it just is ill-timed, and it's just not an appropriate statement. It's just like, where did that come from? Like, you wouldn't have been fighting for your marriage if he was beating your ass. That just doesn't make sense, ma'am. Yeah. So that comment was just unnecessary. So, I mean, that's basically the comment. But you said it should have been Mace at the worst, but definitely not Cameron. Yeah. Again, I feel like it should have been a woman that they should have interviewed, you know, about whether or not they feel about Diddy's apology. But I personally feel the apology was ill-timed and ingenuine, because you had plenty of time before this. You had the time that you were originally accused, and instead of saying it's not you, and dodging around it, you could have taken it like a man and said, that it's who I am. And I feel like, now don't get me wrong, I honestly, there's so much outrage, right? With any man, over the past few years, we have seen black men get physical with women. And by no means is it ever warranted. In saying that, I want people to understand that it takes a woman strength, emotional strength, to do that. So though it's the physical scars that of course have to heal, and that we're like, oh my goodness, we're aghast, but it's the emotional scars that have really taken the toll, and that are really the lasting ones that have been able to get Cassie to this point. So when we see that, I definitely am outraged as well, because you shouldn't see any kind of physical abuse is crazy, but it's the emotional abuse that I can only imagine that she endured, because being able to tell your story, being able to go to the courts and be able to have to relive this, I myself have been raped, and having sometimes to relive and to tell that story can be very triggering, can be very traumatic in and of itself. So I can only imagine, having to deal with this person that can either make or break your career, because it's not like we're talking about Tyrone down the block. We're talking about a mogul that has the ability to affect your career. So Diddy, yes, he might not be the man he once was, but we understand that he still has power. So I commend Cassie and women like her for having the strength, because like I said, the physical scars have been healed. It's the emotional scars that we have to now heal from. We have to now move on through. So I commend her having been able to heal enough through those emotional scars to be able to now tell her story, so that it's like basically stranger danger with Diddy. Like, people understand what he's about. And, for anybody that's doing things to women in relationships, and the thing is that it goes down to trust. She trusted him with her career. She trusted him with her body. She trusted him with overall her life, because at the end of the day, he could have killed her. There's been many successful moguls that have killed. So, he just would be the first black man to do so. But all in all, what I'm saying is that she trusted him. And that is one thing that I'm coming to the realization, that in all these things that are coming out to the surface, people trusted these people with information. People trusted them with their relationships, with pillow talk, and they did something to destroy that. And it's so hard to rebuild trust. I don't know, he's not on here right now. I think he was on air earlier. But I had seen on a fellow Instagrammer's stories, and he wrote about Future, because it ties into the whole trust situation, that Russell must be a better father to Future's son because he wrote more words on a post. Now, I've never heard a more ignorant statement I probably have. But that statement was super ignorant. That statement was super, super ignorant. That basically he has more favor because he wrote more words than Future. No, the fuck, that's not the case. The case is Russell is there 24/7. It is you can trust in the fact that he is going to be there more times than not to be there for Future's son when he has heartbreak, when he has accidents, when, yes, he can call his father and tell him what's going on, but it's nothing like the day-to-day action that you see. And that's what people like seem to not understand. Like, yes, Future might be a good father, but he has 8 other kids. And we have to understand, I don't understand why we are under this fantasy that you can just snap your fingers and spend time with your children, or that's not a lot of jumping into different houses. Like, we need to stop fantasizing this Abraham mentality in this day and age. Like, first of all, get it through your thick head. Abraham had a harem, so all his women were in the same damn, like, what the hell, on the same compound. So it's not like, you know, they were all in separate states and everything like that. So I don't know why we have this, we glorify this mentality, because it's a broken home mentality. We're just creating more broken homes. Well, regardless of that. So when people say, so when I saw the post about, you know, Future and Russell, that is the reason why people, not just because, you know, Russell said some long, heartfelt message, is because he's there for the day-to-day. He's there 24/7. And with Future having to spread himself thin, he cannot constantly be there for the day-to-day. And that is the reason, you know, why, if you had to do a comparison, the stepdad wins. Because he's there. He's there constantly through the thick of it all. And that's what counts. You know, at the end of the day, that's what a child's going to remember. And so when I saw that post, it just like upset me. What am I talking about? I was first talking about my thoughts on Diddy, which is, you know, of course that's horrible and everything like that. But the fact that these women trust Diddy, you know, especially Cassie, which she trusted him with her career and in a relationship, and how that leads to, you know, Russell, Sierra, and Future, because Future's son can trust that Russell's going to be there 24/7. So that's kind of why, you know, he's quote unquote the better dad, and why trust is in there, because trust is the most important one of the most important pillars and foundation to a relationship. You know, it's for in any relationship, whether it be with our kids, whether it be in a sexual relationship only, a platonic relationship, you know, a dating relationship. We all have to be able to trust that this person is having a genuine connection with us. This person is being real with us. And it is so hard to, I'm not gonna say hard to maintain, because it's definitely not hard to maintain, but I feel that people make it hard to maintain because they've placed certain boundaries on their relationship where they feel they can't talk about certain things, whether these boundaries are believed or perceived. It's people place them on there so that they have a fear of battling and talking about certain things. And I feel like you need to be able to trust that you can talk to that person, that they're a safe space to speak freely, and that you're able to say what you need to say, not just without judgment, but also with question, because there's nothing wrong with coming to somebody and the idea being challenged. Because oftentimes we have ideas and thoughts, whether real or imagined, that keep us from moving forward or being able to deal with certain things. And we need to be challenged in our thinking. We oftentimes need to be challenged in our thinking and be like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Even though you're saying that with so much conviction, I think you need to take a step back and say, is that really what's going on here? Are you really being honest with yourself? And, you know, I feel that the trust that we give people is just so important for people to just play with it. And I'm going to put it even further. It's not with even us, with Cassie trusting Diddy. Unfortunately, us as fans, and I say this as us as general, I'm not a fan of Diddy. I'm a fan of his empire, what he's kind of built, but not of the person, the trust that he had with Cassie in their relationship. Diddy affected his trust with the fans, because we trust that the people that we look up to, our idols, are people that we want to be. Okay? And nobody wants to be a person, even if that is who they are. Nobody wants to be the person that is whooping their partner's ass, especially to get caught on camera doing it. Okay? So I think, again, so my overall take away or giveaway on this is that trust is precious. And we as a society constantly do things that fuck up the trust that we have. And then get upset when it's exposed. And even though he's apologizing behind closed doors, he is pissed. He is pissed he got caught. He is pissed that came out. He's pissed Cassie ever opened her damn mouth. He's pissed that anybody can say anything about anything that he's been doing about his behavior, because he doesn't want to remain accountable. And if he is accountable, he wants to give the least amount of accountability and say that it's shit when we know it ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? So and I feel like he is just a representation of us as a whole in the bullshit that we do. And I put myself in there as well. I try not to do that. I really try not, because what I try to preach is what I try to follow. But I know at times I myself can also be a hypocrite. So I'm not going to say I'm above the fact that I could possibly do this too. What I am going to say is that we need to learn how to trust in the fact that we're going to fuck up. We're going to make mistakes. And own that. And be accountable for it when the time comes. And so overall, I feel like that is what has been damaged. Diddy has damaged the trust within his companies that he's forged with other companies and stuff like that, with Ciroc and everything like that, because they expect to be working with an upstanding person. He's ruined relationships with future women. I mean, so to speak, there's always that woman that says, oh, he's not like that, leopard does not change their spots. If a man is going to cheat, he's going to cheat on you. If he's going to beat you up, he's going to beat you up as well. You're no different. Okay? You just haven't seen it yet. And unfortunately, it takes a lot for a person to change, because the person, you may want a person to change, but they're not going to do it on your time. They're going to do it on their time. And sometimes it is what it is with that. But that is what Diddy has lost. He has lost trust. So trust with the companies, trust with future relationships, trust with his fans. Again, there's a lot of people that stood by and said, Cassie, she's not really telling the truth, whatever. She probably provoked him, yada, 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 yada. And even if that's so, again, we're never encouraging people to put hands on people to solve issues. The 202 kid says he lost about 10 endorsements with the last 7 days alone. Businesses don't want to align themselves with negativity. Of course, definitely. Like I said, like, it's the trust that he's broken. And again, that is the pillar of any relationship. And now, like I said, with psycho fans, you know, some fans are probably saying, oh no, it's fake. It's been photoshopped, you know. But the fact is that they trusted him to be an upstanding person. And he's shown that not only is he not an upstanding person in that way, but that he couldn't own up to it at the time that it occurred. Because when it was being said originally, he said, no, it wasn't me. Now, many years later, he want to be like, I apologize for my behavior. It don't count. It don't count. The only thing that counts is that now there's visual proof. And it's just like, and it just kills me. It just kills me that it's not until you have to show receipts and make a spectacle of it that now it's acknowledged. It should be acknowledged on your part alone and be like, you know what? I fucked up. I don't need the press to tell me. I don't need this person to tell me. I know within my heart and soul I fucked up. I don't need nobody else to tell me, and I'm going to fix it and move forward. But how can you move forward when now we also know that you're a liar? So it's just like, it just compounds the fact that that we can't trust Diddy. And as the 202 kid, he's losing endorsements. I don't even know how many endorsements he lost, but it just is a confounding factor. And I feel like Diddy, again, is a representation of society as a whole, feeling that they don't need to be accountable. And if they're made accountable, it's only because it's affecting something else. It's not just, it's like, why don't you just want to be a good person? I don't know. Maybe I'm just lost in this rationale, but why isn't it you just want to be a good person? You know, we all have to, everybody says that, you know, we don't want anybody to be in control of us and everything like that. I don't even want to be, nobody wants to be controlled, you know. Want to be handled, yes. But yes, nobody wants to be controlled. However, we all have to answer to something. Even if we don't do enough where we have to answer to the police. I believe in a higher power, and I believe that we have to answer to somebody or something. So even I'm about to have a little slip here. So even things that we do in the dark comes to the light. And if it doesn't come into the light in this lifetime, it will come to light in the next. That's what I believe. Joe Tuka says that Diddy denied ever touching Cassie altogether. Yeah, when the video came out now, yeah, exactly. You know, exactly. And it's just like, you shouldn't have to have someone else have a mirror to you for you to see the darkness within yourself. You should just want to correct the behavior. And it just, you know, so that, again, and I said this earlier, and I don't think a lot of people caught it, but I applaud Cassie And we talk about the physicalness, and I know we're all shocked and everything like that, because again, nobody should put their hands on a woman. But what I feel most strongly about is that she had the emotional strength to tell her story and say what was going on, because the physical wounds heal much faster than the emotional wounds. Emotional wounds are in here, and the mind holds so much, especially things that can be traumatic, of course, right? We hold traumatic experiences much tighter oftentimes than good experiences. So I commend her, and like I said, I commend women like her for being able to heal enough to be able to share your story, and say that I didn't, what happened to me, I was a minor, so I didn't have to go to court and testify. There was enough there for the person to go to jail. But it's a lot. So I just commend her, and again, everybody that's like her, to be able to share that story, about what happened to you. Because like I said, the emotional scars, and being able to heal and move forward, and have such a successful, relationship and marriage, and have the beautiful child that she has. She's made quite some strides from the time that she's known Diddy. I mean, she's blossomed. She's quite blossomed, and so we see, overall how Diddy has strangled people, Mace included. We were talking about the camera, but how he strangled Mace's career and everything like that, has it in that fucking chokehold like none other. And it's just like, we see the devastation he has caused for people, just not just fiscally, but physically. And we just have to be mindful as a people how we print on other people's lives. We are all on a journey, and some people are in our lives for a moment, and they make an impression. And me personally, I say, if I'm going to print on somebody's life, I want to be able to leave the best print possible. When they meet me again, they'll be like, meeting Kay was such and such and such, And the thing is that it kills me when people know that they have shit with them and do not care who they print, whose lives they print upon. And they're basically preying upon people. If you want to, and say it in layman's terms, they're preying on people. But the thing is that they're not willing to get the help that they need, or they're too narcissistic and they're saying they're not the problem, or their ego, or whatever the case might be causing them to stop them from looking at the mirror and saying, maybe it's me. But we need to do better. We need to do better. So that's my overall thoughts of how Diddy affects us as a whole, of as a people, as a society. Like I said, representation of how we are as a society. That we deny things until we have a mirror placed upon us and we can't deny it, and then we give a bullshit account, a bullshit apology, and want the world to respect it, and not do any work to really have it. I'm sorry. Have not done anything, have not atoned for anything. Say, I'm sorry, and we are supposed to forgive you. That's why I don't like it when people bring up Chris Brown, because he paid his dues. For us to continue to talk about it and everything and beat him up about it now is pointless. He's learned. He's went to anger management classes. He's been other relationships since then, and we haven't heard anything about it. That means that a person then done changed, you know? Unless we hear about it later on, you know, and then let this whole thing bite me in the ass many years later on. You know what I'm saying? But until such a time, he's apologized. He's atoned for his sins. You know, how Diddy, we can't move on. We do not accept your apology. You're not really sorry. Stop with the nonsense, please. So in that regard, no, I can't accept it. But I really feel like that, and that's what I think overall people just want for people to be able to just move on. And people can't just move on, okay? That's not proper healing. Proper healing is for a person to be able to acknowledge, because that's what the person wants to, that's why the person is saying, I'm going to still deal with you in the first place, because they're expecting you to accept what you did wrong, do better, change the behavior, move forward, and then go from there. But not to be like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, and let's just move forward. Like, that's not going to happen. The person has to be really sorry, and that's why people can't move forward. And I mean, I know they say you have to have closure by yourself, you know, and so she probably did, you know, at some point have to have closure within herself and say, you know, Diddy, this, that, and third. But I know that money also helped her have a little bit better closure, you know what I'm saying? Have a little bit better closure. But yeah, so that's my little spiel on that. And it's funny, and Jessica says that's the funny thing, no one should be respecting Diddy's trash apology. Yeah, no, but I'm just saying in general, you know, apologies and stuff like that, people want to act like you should just accept it and move forward, and that's not how life works. You have to really be truly sorry for what it is. So that's it for tonight. I'm going to be out of here, but I do want to say to everyone again, thank you so much for the 1,000 views from my last video. That was amazing. Let's continue to bring those numbers up going forward. And also for the subscribers, I appreciate y'all. Continue to like, subscribe, leave comments, and above all, always keep your crown straight. Thank you for tuning in, and take care, and have a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend.